And
All
we're
right. Thank you for tuning in. This is Andy Thunders on the Rock and Roll Gypsy Diaries. I'm here today with the legend Tony Martin, promoting his latest album, Thorns, former Black Sabbath vocalist as well, an all around great, humble guy with a great taste in bandanas. How are you, man?
I've never heard of him. Who is this Tony Martin? I'm good. I'm good. It's kind of cold over here in the UK. We're just coming out of winter. I guess you guys are as well. But we're doing what we have to do. The COVID thing is kind of settling down a little bit now.
Yeah.
Same as you guys, I guess. We're all
Yeah.
kind of
I've got
doing the
three
same
shows
kind of.
so far this spring and summer, so that's a good sign.
Yeah. Huh.
You know.
So yeah, so far so good. I'm pleased with the album. That's going quite well as well. So
It's fantastic.
thank you.
I mean, you still didn't give me permission to play the other songs on it, so I've been playing As the World Burns, but I've listened
Yeah.
to it and I can't wait to get the copy from your merch kids because
Yeah.
it's
It
so
will be on
heavy
its way.
and your voice is it's held up really well over the years and it almost seems almost like a little more seasoned in a way now, in a way,
Um,
as you
yeah,
naturally progress as a singer.
that's old age. I mean, I'm 65.
I'm not saying
Um,
that as a bad thing. I I noticed that with a lot of artists I listen to, and I like hearing that. Like with Ripper recently too.
right.
When I interviewed him, I said the same thing.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, it's like it's a voice. I mean, I'm 5 notes down from where I was with Black Sabbath. I was singing stupid high notes in Sabbath. Um, that kind of fades away as you get older.
yeah,
So
naturally.
I'm sort of 5 notes down. But this is my new range, and it's working.
It
So
works really well because I
I'm
couldn't
just
tell
using it.
that you were 5 octaves down.
5 notes down, not 5 octaves.
5 notes, sorry.
5 octaves.
That would be a lot. That would be. Oh, sorry, it's early
But
morning here.
yeah, 5 notes down. I used to be in the Sabbath days G over top E, and now I'm D just under top E. So, but this is my new range, and it's working for me at the moment.
Yeah,
So I'm just using it now. I think that's what all singers should do. To be honest,
agreed.
there's no point in trying to chase something that you don't have.
I
I know some
concur.
people do, but
Yeah,
you have to work with what you've got.
yeah.
But it's working, so I'm happy.
Yeah, and I wanted to talk as far as the songwriting process for the new album as well. What were some of your lyrical inspirations, and what was the writing process like as opposed to writing with other groups you have in the past?
Well, I mean, there's still a lot of old school shit in there. I mean,
There
God,
is, yeah.
the devil, and that kind of thing. There's, that sort of stuff lends itself really well, to
Yeah.
for rock music anyway. We've been doing it for decades,
Oh yeah.
and as long as you can still pull a story out of it, it
Yeah.
kind of still works because there is still good and evil in the world.
Well, yeah. I think a lot
People
of
relate to that.
Oh yeah. And the thing is with the good and evil stuff and the devil stuff, it's almost like maybe you unconsciously do it, but it's almost like there's a level of sociological things buried within,
Yeah.
the stories you're telling, I guess, if that
Well, it
makes
has a
sense.
basis in truth, doesn't it? I mean,
Yeah,
the good
absolutely.
and evil thing, even if you don't actually, well, okay, so I'm not a God-fearing man.
Yeah.
Um, I do understand it, and good set of rules maybe, but I'm not a follower of that sort of thing. However, my whole professional life, anyway, has been somehow submersed in the satanic thing. I just like got dropped in it, really.
Yeah.
Um, I don't eat children for breakfast, and I don't have an altar which I sacrifice shit on. But I seem to
Much
be able to
work,
pull
right?
words together, with lyrics and words for me. Um, have that drama
Yeah.
of what you would expect hell to be, and what you expect to be going on, in those kind of places. So there's a lot of that on the album, but there's some modern stuff on there as well. Thorns, the actual track Thorns, is mostly about domestic abuse, believe it or not.
Yeah. Oh wow. Yeah.
Which is a current thing, that it's made worse by COVID, as I understand. So you've probably heard the same.
I think it's always been a thing. It's just something that's being talked about more openly now.
Yeah, I agree. But I mean, it didn't start off as an ambassador for like domestic abuse. It sort of became one.
Oh, that's cool.
So
just developed that way.
Yeah, it was literally just a song. I mean, the subject of the story really is a woman, who is terribly abused, and she has run away. She's on the street. She self-harms.
Yeah.
Hiding away, doesn't want to speak to anybody. And when anybody speaks any kindness, those kind words feel like thorns inside. So that's how that sort of came about. And then
that's really deep.
2 or 3 professionals that work in the abusive care area got in touch with me and said, this song actually really works. It sort of tells the story of somebody like that, and it's such a fabulous song to have out there. Well, I didn't sort of intend it to be that way, but it's starting. Ambassador.
That's incredible.
I've sort of run with it, kind of.
See where it takes you.
I'm happy to put my name towards that kind of thing, but
absolutely,
as I said, it didn't start out like that. But then, other tracks, like As the World Burns, like you said, that's more a God Devil type thing. And Black Widow Angel, that's kind of more of a God Devil type thing. So there is a mix of old school stuff and more modern things on there as well.
It's an incredibly fresh sounding record, and that's what I love about it. It's incredibly heavy. If anybody who's a fan of anything that you've done in the past would love it, I would see no reason why they wouldn't.
And Tony Martin, the entity of Tony Martin, when you listen to something that I do, it has to have a story, it has to have a melody, it has to work in a certain frame. So I do try. I do try to keep it in that sort of area. Although my head, if you could climb inside my head, it's a nightmare in there.
Same here.
It really is all over the place. Different instruments, different kinds of music, different stuff going on there. It really is. It's like a bizarre kind of circus in my head.
I can relate. I've been listening to like Tom Waits and anarcho-punk, like on a mixture of the two.
The last record I bought was Elvis Presley.
Nice. The last record I bought was, I think, by the anarcho-punk band Doom. It came out in the late 80s. You might know the name.
Right. So, I think that's a product of being a child of the 70s. I remember 1971 exploded for me. And it was just like...
that was a damn good year for music.
Oh, everything.
One of the best.
From reggae to rock, and so many from England.
Yeah.
Bands coming out of England like nobody's business, and we couldn't get enough of it. So like all of this kind of music really kind of messed my head up because there was so much of it, and it was a fabulous time.
I can imagine, and not everything was so polarized by genre and subgenre back then. It was just if it was good music, it was good music, Yeah. And I feel like the bands back then were able to have a bit more, it wasn't so much verse, chorus, verse as it became in the 80s, it seems.
Right. Yeah. It did
So,
have a mind of its own, or a feel of its own. And the English sound, which I tried to put on Thorns, even though Scott McClellan, the guitar player, is from the USA, he plays guitar like an American, but I pulled it back into sort of an English 3-piece.
Nice.
Guitar, bass, drums thing with a bald bloke up front.
Perfect.
It was good writing. And you asked about the writing process. I mean, the process has always been the same for me. Music always comes first.
Yep.
I'm musically illiterate. I can't read or write music at all.
Me neither.
So
I'm a guitar player. It's weird.
Right. It's all done by ear.
Yeah.
And then usually exactly the same as when I worked with Tony Iommi, I would take the riffs and cut them up and put a verse where I needed it and a chorus where I needed it, or bridge section for a solo or whatever. And then I would make a melody and lyrics to go on top of that. So that's the same with Scott, and it's a very familiar process. It reminds me very much of writing with Tony Iommi, because it's the same way we used to do it.
Nice.
And
And you
Scott
guys are still on good terms, right? You and Tony?
Yeah.
Nice. I'm glad to hear.
We're not best friends, but we speak from time to time, and he's very polite and cordial. He's he wants to get together and connect. So it
Nice.
is there, but the phone doesn't ring. I mean, you
Gotcha. Okay.
You have to kind of make the effort to get in touch, because it's never the other way around. I've said that now. Probably call me now. But yeah.
So you've got Scott McClellan, you said, on guitar. Who else is in the band?
Well, actually, it's not really a band. I don't have a band.
Oh, okay.
This is one of my regrets, that my life took me into the studio, and I've been here for the past 25 years. I've done such a lot of writing, recording, for various artists. My voice appears on 77 albums and projects now.
Wow.
So it's just the way my life took me, and that's not a bad thing. That's how I carried on living. Yeah. But I didn't have a band. I let the band thing go, and so now, if I go out on the road, I have to hire the musicians.
Oh, gotcha.
We have to rehearse it from scratch. We have to build a show from the very beginning. Then you need 6 months in advance to promote the thing and get it out there. So for me, it's such a long-winded thing, and it's never quite gone great, because when you hire a band, or the promoter finds you a band, it can start to sound a bit like a tribute act. The problem with that is I was in the band. So
yeah,
the fans know what it's supposed to sound like. So if you don't get it right, you can sort of sound a little bit foolish, so it's one of my regrets, but I would love to get back out there. And so the people that are on the album now are guests and friends. So yeah, I mean, the drummer Danny Needham, he's been working with Venom.
Oh, nice. Okay.
He has been a drummer with me for nearly 20 years, on and off, doing recording and stuff like that. Magnus Rosen, the bass player on some of the tracks, he was with a band called Hammerfall from Sweden.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And he's a great guy to work with, just fabulous, and again another good friend. But then I've got Greg Smith, who used to play with Rainbow, Alice Cooper, and
wow, yeah,
like that. He's played on the album as well, and then I've played some bass and drums and guitar, and then my daughter is on there, my son is on there. It's just like a collection of friends and family, really. So yeah, but those people on the album could potentially be in our band, so we would have to wait and see if they could get the time and get it together.
Damn, that's such a stellar list of people, and you gotta love having your kids on it too, and your kids must be thrilled. You know? Like, look what I did,
Yeah. They are all musically minded.
Nice. So are mine.
They're not musicians. Like, they all have regular jobs. In fact, my eldest daughter is one of the scientists in the university hospital working on the COVID thing. And
oh, wow.
Tell
her thank you for me.
Oh yeah, I keep doing that. So thank you. And my youngest son, Joe, he plays guitar on the album, on Book of Shadows, and he did some touring with me. But he works in a factory that makes machines that like lathes, and they make for McLaren cars.
Oh
You know,
wow,
those.
okay.
So it's very technical stuff that he does.
Yeah.
It's all computer controlled engineering now, and
Yeah,
so he's into that sort of thing.
that's gotta be
So
wild.
my kids, they all do their own thing, and they're all grown up and
Yeah.
you know
Well,
doing
mine
stuff.
are still wee ones,
Are they
and
okay? Yeah,
enjoying that. Yeah.
yeah. The trouble
They're
hasn't
all
started yet.
musically minded as well, and very well-rounded kids, I'd say.
Good. That's great, though. And what's amazing is that I'm 65, and they're still picking up the music that I've got. They've taken my vinyl albums, and I haven't seen them again. They've sort of permanently taken them.
Yeah.
Dad, can I borrow this? Yeah.
Well, my parents kind of dealt with the same thing for me.
So they're into this, more traditional kind of music as well as the stuff. But then it goes both ways. I mean, I have a very wide range of musical interests. So I can listen to Green Day. I can listen to Foo Fighters. I love all
Yeah.
that stuff. Great stuff.
I'm the same way. I could listen to Arlo Guthrie one second, I could be
Yeah.
listening to like Venom or something the next, and I could go in and then go from there to something like the Grateful Dead into the Subhumans. There
And
is no rhyme or reason. It's all good music to me.
no, and it's one of the things I love about music, and especially of metalheads who, can have quite a broad range of interest, which
The
is
punk
why,
rockers these days too
yeah,
actually can as well. You know.
which is why the album is like it is. Thorns has got a few different sounds on there. The weird one is Damnation. The one towards the end, that is the weird one, but it
I
needs a
like the
video to
weird.
explain. Once you see a video for it, it'll make more sense. But
Okay.
it's kind of thing. But then Crying Wolf Unplugged. I
Yeah.
started off writing the unplugged sound, and I thought that's where I was going to go with it. And then I met Scott McClellan, and then he introduced this heavy stuff. So I went, wow, that could all work together.
Yeah.
So
A
it did.
bit of heaviness and a bit of lightness,
Yeah.
works nicely in the balance of things. I've seen on social media and stuff, it seems to be being received really well. Are you pleased with how it's being recepted by the public and the fans and stuff?
Yeah, it's fantastic. When you write an album, nobody ever knows if
Yeah,
it's going to be good or not. I mean, you can never know if it's going to be a hit or not. You just have to do the best that you can do, and
yeah,
hope that everybody else likes it as well. What you do get, I think, is a sense of achievement with songs that you think either, wow, I haven't heard that before, or wow, I haven't done that before, or something might sort of click. And with each one of these songs on this album, it just worked,
yeah.
and I was really pleased with it. And I started this album off like 13 years ago. Uh, so, I'm still listening to it after 13 years. So I'm hoping that everybody else can as well.
Oh yeah, it's actually been something that I play during work. I usually start my work shift
Yeah,
listening to it, just to power through the first couple hours.
yeah,
I don't know. It's a very powerful, very strong record, and
I think so.
you have every absolute right to be proud of it.
I am, and it's great to know that the fans, are picking up on it, and especially in America, because when I was in Sabbath, we concentrated more on Europe and
Yeah,
Asia and that way around. We did come to America and we did do a couple of tours over there, but the days were different, and we were actually in working against like garage bands and grunge and stuff like that. So
yeah,
it was kind of difficult for us to break through as a traditional rock band
yeah,
in those times. But now, people are sort of hearing it more for what it is, and
yeah. That's
it's
the
kind of
thing I've
cool.
noticed with hindsight, your stuff especially, because I always applauded it. When I first heard Headless Cross, I'd show everybody I possibly could who was into Sabbath
Right.
who had never heard it. I'd be like,
No,
it's seriously just as good as anything else they've ever done. and nobody ever really talked about it. It's nice for
No,
me as a fan of your stuff to see as time goes on, people are revisiting those albums and realizing,
right.
wow, these are damn good.
Yeah,
You
they were
know?
good. I mean, they were different, but the same. So
Yeah.
if you think about Sabbath eras, I mean, traditionally, right from the very beginning, I mean, the Ozzy era is so completely different to the Tony Martin era. Um, and
And the
then you've
Tony
got
Martin
like,
era is completely different from the Gillan or the Dio
right,
or, and vice versa.
the Dio era is the closest,
Yes, I
and
would agree.
it's not a million miles away from the
Yeah.
Dio era, but it is different enough in the stories, the melodies, the whole way the band was working when I was there is different in that we when I was there, we were starting to get quite technical with the sound, and we were layering lots of keyboards and harmonies and
Yeah.
like stuff like that. And okay, traditional Sabbath fans will say, well, that's not Black Sabbath. Well, no, it might not have been back then, but
Yeah.
it was an era that we were doing. It couldn't have gone much further, to be honest. Once you get to the technical stuff, you've got to be in like a band like Yes or Rush,
Yeah.
or to make that stuff work. You've got to
Yeah.
really, which Sabbath was never going to do. But we'd sort of ventured, especially with Tour, and maybe not quite so much with Cross purposes, but with Tour, we'd sort of really got layers of everything going on in there.
Yeah.
50 voices and loads of keyboards and layered guitars and all sorts of stuff. So it was just a different era of Sabbath.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's like I said, I love seeing that people are heralding, your era and that there's a demand for it. And
I'm
the
pleased.
one thing I wanted to ask you is what is your personal favorite record for all the Sabbath fans? What's your personal favorite from your time with the band? Which one?
Um, well, I first heard Black Sabbath when I was 15, and it was
Nice.
Masters of Reality was the album then.
Volume
But
4 for me.
oh, really? Okay,
Still my
okay.
favorite to this day.
Wow, that's cool. But then out of the ones of my era, because yeah, you have to understand. I mean, when I was in the band, there'd been 5 different lineup changes by the time I got
Yeah.
to the first album. The first tour, we started off, with the album that Ray Gillan had sung on.
7 Star? Wow.
No, Eternal Idol.
Oh, okay.
Ray
Oh, yeah,
Gillan,
that's right. He's saying
Eternal
on.
Idol
That's
first,
right.
and then he's sort of left, and then the other guys left, and then we got Cozy Powell in, and then there's all the bass players that we had and stuff. By the time we got to the first tour, there'd been 5 different lineups. So it was an ever-changing band when I was there.
Wow,
Just
okay.
different things, different people. We had Eddie Van Halen came and worked with us, and
Oh, that's cool.
all sorts of weird stuff going on.
Yeah.
So it was never a static band. Um,
Okay.
I never had that luxury of working with people that I knew was going to be there the next week. They
Yeah.
were like, the faces kept changing, the style kept changing. Geezer Butler would come, then he would go. We
The
had
only
Bev Bevan.
stability was instability, right?
Yeah, we had Bev Bevan. We had Cozy Powell. We had Terry Chimes from the Clash. We had
Yeah, that's wild to think about.
do you know what I mean? It was just like an ever-changing band. So how do you say that Black Sabbath was in an era? It was just a complicated, ever-changing
Yeah.
thing. It does teach you a lesson. I mean, you have to be on your toes to keep up with all that shit.
Oh, I can imagine.
You know,
Especially being the new guy at the front of the band as well. That's
yeah,
got to be a hell of a lot of shoes to
and
fill.
the young new guy, because I'm like 12 years younger than those
Yeah, I
guys.
was
So
gonna say you're like the baby in a way.
I know it's like having a little baby brother that you don't really want tagging along. It's that kind of thing. Do we have to bring him? Yes.
Who else is gonna sing the bloody songs?
Yeah. So I did my best. I mean, what can I tell you?
I think you did great. Did you have a hand in the writing on those albums then as well? You and
On
Tony?
Sabbath albums. On the
Yeah.
Sabbath albums, yeah. Well, not the first one because Ray Gillan had already started that.
Yeah, naturally. But
He,
Headless Cross, you had a
but
hand
from
in?
Headless Cross, it was all me. Yeah,
Oh, wow.
yeah.
I
It was
gotta
me.
say, the one song that really stood out to me because of the story or question you are asking was Killing the Spirit World.
Oh yeah.
Because that idea for someone who's into philosophy, the idea of that just blows my mind. Because I
It's
had Martin
isn't it?
Popoff, my friend, his book
Oh yeah.
Doom Let Loose, and I read the story of what the song's about, and it just blows my mind. You know?
It's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
Once you tag on to an idea like that,
It doesn't matter
it's
how far fetched it is. Just the
well,
idea
no,
alone
that's
and what you can do with
true.
it.
That's true,
Yeah.
but it just opens up in front of you because once you start thinking about that, you go, wait a minute, this could go like anywhere. This could
Yeah,
go
the possibilities
everywhere.
are endless. And for a
So,
writer or creative type, that's carte blanche, isn't it?
yeah. So then the lyrics become really fun to work with. And I have to say, we're lucky, aren't we? That English is a great language to write with.
Yeah.
You change words, they can mean two or three things, or same word, but different things. You can make them rhyme. You
Mm-hmm.
don't have to make them rhyme. You can pull out words from history that
You can
probably
paint
haven't
a
been
mental
used.
picture using only words, you know?
Yeah.
You can
And
almost paint a picture. It's
I'm a kind of
beautiful.
wordsmith. I collect words. I have pieces of paper lying around with just words on them, no story or rhyme on them, and they just every now and then they come out, and I find a word that maybe hasn't been used for centuries. People don't pick up on anymore, and throw that in. I even made up a word.
Oh, really?
Yeah, on cross purposes. I needed to explain hypocrisy, but from the point of view of Black Sabbath, so I called it sabocracy. And
Nice.
I put this word in. No, just one person noticed and got in touch. A fan got in touch and said, "What does sabocracy mean?" I went, "Wow, that's cool. Somebody noticed." I feel
Yeah.
like it should be in the Oxford Book of Dictionary or something now. But
Yeah.
it was just a word that I made up, so I'll make them up
Who
myself.
knows? It may end up one day.
Ah, it may end up.
Yeah. Weirder things have happened, man.
Oh yeah.
What are do you have a favorite memory from your time in the band? Anything that kind of sticks out,
Sabbath.
funny or yeah.
Um. Well. No.
Okay.
Yeah, but yes, I mean, I was because it was such an ever-changing, and it was really hard work, to be honest, to be in that kind of environment. I never knew if you was going to be in the band like for the next thing or not. I got fired twice. I think I'm the only singer to get fired twice from Black Sabbath.
Yeah.
But it was just complicated reading between the lines, kind of thing. Almost, you can imagine a bit like Spinal Tap. All of the members had their own managers.
Oh
Um,
wow,
I
okay.
had a manager, Geezer Butler. His wife was his manager, and then Tony Iommi had three managers. It was just like it was a nightmare. So it was hard work, and I really wish I'd had more time to enjoy the whole
Yeah.
thing. But there you go. It was just it was what it was, and we sort of got on with it.
I'm sure you've seen some of the most beautiful places and played
Mhm.
some massive shows. I think your show in Athens was very well attended, actually, on that tour, wasn't it?
Yeah, the first one. Yeah,
Yeah.
Athens. God, that was the first one. That was like 10,000 people, I think. Then
Yeah.
we went to Russia. We're talking about Russia now. We went to Russia, and
Don't mention the war.
yeah, what a knob! Fucking, I can't. Don't even get me started on that. But we did Russia, and that was like 40,000 people at the Olympic Stadium
Oh wow.
twice a day, two shows a day. It's just
And the same
ridiculous.
amount of people basically each
Yeah.
time.
I think they
Wow.
must have been hire a crowd or something. I don't know.
Well, they were deprived of stuff for so long under the USSR and stuff,
Well,
you know.
yeah. I mean, they actually didn't realize what it was about, and we had a couple of really weird. I can tell you a couple of stories if you like. The first time
it's totally up to you.
in Moscow, they had got the dignitaries on the front row. So you've got like the mayor, the mayor's wife, the mayor's mom, the kids,
Oh, wow.
like, you know, all lined up across the front, and then whatever other dignitaries were sort of around. We're, you know, the song Iron Man, right? Black Sabbath.
Yeah.
So we're kicking off with Iron Man, and Iommi comes up to me and punches me in the ribs and says, "Look down there." Down where? Down there. Look down there. Okay, Grandma is knitting to Iron Man. Da, very good, boys, very good. Da, each one, Pearl 1, 3. No. Fuck, he said, nobody has ever come to a fucking Black Sabbath show and knitting. He was really angry.
That's fucking funny. That's so Spinal Tap.
Yeah, fuck me. Grandma knitting in the front row. Oh, I couldn't believe that.
Yeah, very good.
Yeah, good boys. Good. And then we went to Leningrad, St. Petersburg, and that was completely different because now we were in like I don't know, like a massive club type thing. So the fans were up the front of the stage. Gotcha. And also they didn't realize that you shouldn't give drunken fans glass bottles to go into the arena with. So they were throwing these bottles at us. Like, fuck. I mean, you could only see them once they reached the light. So you know, the light kind of blinds you, as you probably know, that you can't see very far out front. And so it's only at the last minute you see these fuckers coming in. And what was it? We had Girl School on with us. And the guitar player at the time, she nearly got one in the face, a broken bottle. Christ. And she just managed to dodge it, and it buried into her loudspeaker at the back. So it was just a wild, you know, they didn't know like how to behave or what to expect. You know, it was just so new for them. And they wanted to pay us in tractors. I think that somebody said, you know, we'll give you 20 tractors. You take home and sell them. No, fuck off.
Give me cash.
Very good tractors. You take, sell. No, fuck off. So, you know, it's just I have to say, I mean, I am so disappointed in, you know, with Russia. It just, we've always been really well treated. They invited us over there. I've been there. Oh,
it seems like a very beautiful country, in all honesty.
The people were great, very welcoming, very warm. The fans were amazing. Spent time in Ukraine, spent time in Russia. And I'm just so disappointed, you know, because there's no need for this shit. And it's
not
just
this far along in history after all the stuff we've already fucking been through.
Oh, man, why? Just no, you don't have to do that. I feel like going and, you know, having a word with Putin and saying, do you remember me? You know who I am?
Yeah. Like, what are you doing?
Oh. Fuck, man. So
no, I mean, in reality, it would be almost disrespectful at this time doing this interview to not say anything about what's actually happening in the world as well.
No. And my heart goes out to Ukraine. I mean, they've been such great people, lovely people. The country was so beautiful.
Yeah, my heart does as well. And I've got many friends in Russia who are just as terrified as the Ukrainians over there.
It's so, it just seems completely wrong. And, you know, we're kind of lucky and our world is not perfect. We've missed a few opportunities to sort of correct things. So, you know, I understand that we don't have an ultimate moral high ground, but we have some. Fuck me. I mean, you know.
Yeah. Like, you know, just.
Dear me.
You know, I wish someone would make it so that way people would view nuclear weapons as cheating. Or a cop-out, you know, make it dishonorable.
Yeah. I'm just so impressed that finally the world is sort of coming together, you know. Yeah. Having missed some opportunities, but it's sort of coming together.
There's a bit more division on that here in the States, I'll be completely honest with you, to my dismay. But, you know, generally speaking, the majority, you know, we're all in solidarity. So
yeah, well, same everywhere. It's a free nation, isn't it? So you kind of have the right to think what you think. But
yeah,
it ultimately, when you look at it, that's not right, is it? I mean, it just doesn't.
No.
It just can't be right. Anyway,
I'll just say this: it's the first time I've seen right-wing Americans being pro-Russia for anything,
oh
and
really?
that's the shocking thing.
It is the way, some people view stuff, but on the whole, I mean, there's nothing good about what's going on.
Exactly. When you take away all the little political elements that don't really
Yeah.
matter in the end anyway, if it's right or wrong, that's where you should view your moral compass.
I mean, I've stood in those streets in Ukraine, and I look
Yeah,
at it.
that's
And I
got to be
think,
crazy for you
God,
to think about and to see what's going on when you've actually physically been there. That's got to
yeah,
be like a dagger to you.
stood in front of those beautiful buildings and stuff, and now they're all smashed to fuck. I mean, come on. Anyway, let's move on.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So really a reality. I know we're getting close to the time. What is it at the end of the day that you love about music, man?
Do you know what? I find I think most musicians will find that hard to answer, because you might have a favorite style, but what is it about music? It's kind of almost mathematical. It's like something that gets into your soul that you're either born with, or you just don't. Some people are sports people, some people are music people.
Yeah.
It's something that you carry with you, and I've asked my parents a couple of times, about me as a kid, and they said, well, you were singing shit at like 3 years old. I can't remember any of that stuff.
Yeah.
But they tell me that I was always, musically minded. So I don't know what it is about music, but I just find it really rewarding, and you're able to reach people with it. Even the things that you don't like. I don't like the Forbidden album, but people
Yeah.
contact me and say, man, I love that album. Why? And they do.
Why?
It's like, holy cow, how can you possibly? Okay, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is
get it,
about
man.
music.
There's some demos I've done that I think sound like shit, and people think, no,
Oh,
it's good. And I'm just like, no, it's shit.
Yeah, I've done the same. I've done the same.
No,
And then, when I was at school, I sort of I got interested in electronics, and I went to college and got an electronics degree and stuff. And then I started making instruments, and
nice.
in my teens and stuff like that. So the whole thing, technology, technology and music go hand in hand.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's changed on us so many times that we find it difficult now to keep up with the changes that technology
I think
does.
in the last 10 or 20 years, it's progressed so quickly, unlike anything we've ever seen before. I mean, look at us. I'm across the freaking Atlantic from you, and we're talking as if you're right there in the same room, man. It's wild to really think about.
In a split second.
Yes. Where before, the big thing was the Moto, the fax machine. Only takes like 15 minutes a page.
It's incredible, isn't it? Really, really incredible. I mean, I have got in the studio still some of the analog stuff that we went from great big 2-inch tapes. We went into when the Beatles were doing it, they had just like 4 tracks, I think.
Yeah, for like the first 2 or 3 records of theirs alone.
And the guys were wearing white, lab coats.
Yep.
Just up until now, when a kid can do a whole studio setup in his bedroom. I
did a poetry record in my room that I'm talking to you in right now.
It's incredible, the technology changes. And so the problem that I have is that a lot of, for example, I've got practically every rehearsal and writing session I did with Black Sabbath on an 8-track cassette tape.
Wow, yeah.
Trying to find the equipment now to play that stuff is really hard.
Let alone tried to be able to, digitize it and do anything with it.
It's a bit of a mission for me to try and transfer all this stuff before it gets lost or there isn't any equipment around to sort of play it. DAT players, oh God, all sorts of things, mini discs, CDs, they're all gone, it's such a change in technology. So there's that, and especially being old, I'm kind of coming to the end of my career, but we've seen so many changes over the years, in the 50 years that I've been doing it anyway. Amazing. The first time I ever did any kind of multi-recording, the only way I could do it was to unsolder the wires off the erase head so that it wouldn't rub anything off.
Wow.
That's the only. I've still got that machine.
I love these stories because I understand that process, but a lot of people my age and younger who might be watching this don't know about, having to bake the tapes before you play them.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. And I had Gary Lee Conner, who was in one of those Seattle bands, the Screaming Trees, and they weren't from Seattle, and they got lumped in the whole mess. You know how that goes with music scenes, I'm sure, as well.
Yeah.
But he was talking about how on their first record in '86, they actually ran the analog through a beta tape player. So it was actually one of the first digitally mastered records, actually. And it was just an indie college record.
But this is what we did, our because we were always trying to find some kind of better quality sound. I mean, now it's all done on computers. We use either Pro Tools or Cubase or something like that, and lots of other programs that you can use. But in those days, we were always trying to get a better sound than somebody else, or find out how they did that sound, or how did they achieve this. I've seen some amazing things, and in the studio, I was working with one band, a reggae band actually called Aswad.
Oh wow, that's cool.
The dude, they're all smoking, like the room is blue with like spliffs and stuff, and the producer dude goes, "Man, there's something wrong with this. I need to correct it." So like he goes to the 2-inch tape, and he gets his blade, and he cuts across the tape and then along the tape and then back down off the tape. How does he know where the tracks are? It's not like they're all marked or anything.
Yeah.
He cut down across and then down again, and then matched it with the other end so that it sort of taped it all up. It worked. I mean, I just couldn't believe
like a
some of the
scientist or something.
Stuff. Yeah, it's just like, oh, God knows. And we were always messing about with equipment and stuff like that. So,
Yeah.
With that in mind, I mean, you can see where my head is a mess.
Yeah.
It's just
I get it. I'm the same way. I could relate completely, man. We're very similar in that respect. Trust me. I get
it. Full of shit and totally useless shit to keep.
Oh, yeah. I've got an encyclopedia of useless rock and roll knowledge inside my brain.
Yeah, dude. Mate, look, can I just go back to the Thorns album and
yes, absolutely.
Just thank everybody, including you. I mean, we need you guys to sort of let everybody know what we're doing, and so thank you and everybody that does your thing.
It's an absolute honor.
The fans invite us into their homes and their cars and their headphones, and we love that. It's great to be part of the thing, and everybody becomes part of the story. So very grateful to all of the people that have worked on the album, and the record labels as well. The main label was Battle God in Australia, and then Dark Star licensed it from them.
Nice.
So I've got two labels that are working on this worldwide. That's cool.
Amazing. You see, you've got decent backing and everything too, man.
Pretty much. It's as much as the market allows.
Yeah.
Yeah, we are.
Well, the fans, from my perspective, are loving it. And I'm a fan of your stuff, and I love it. So we're behind you 110%.
Well, thank you to you, and thank you to everybody and all of the fans. I'm just loving that you're receiving this well. We're working on Thorns 2, believe it or not.
Woohoo!
Which we can't call Thorns 2, but we have to call it something.
The follow-up. I get it.
It'll be something related to Thorns. Like, I don't know. I can't remember. I can't think of a name at the minute, but it'll be something. But we're also currently working on a vinyl version of this.
Oh, nice. That's awesome. That's right up my end.
There was too many tracks from the CD to put on a vinyl. and they wanted me to take some off, and I said no.
Oh,
I'm not
absolutely.
taking any fucking tracks off, you idiot. No. So they said, well, there's only one other option. You write some more tracks and we'll make a double vinyl. So that's what we're trying to do at the moment.
Brilliant. I look forward to that.
Yeah, and believe it or not, somebody's even asked me to do a run of audio cassettes.
Nice. Yeah,
So-
I actually, those two things are right up my alley. I've
Really?
bought brand new cassettes recently myself too. I love
Right.
them.
So we're doing a whole analog release thing a bit later on in the year. Apparently somebody told me that there's a video game somewhere that the kids are playing at the moment, and the one of the main character kids has got a Walkman, a cassette Walkman, and so the kids are starting to ask, "What's that? I want one of those." And so their dads
and they make turntables and cassette boom boxes like the old Ghetto Blasters.
Yeah,
they've remade them where they have a USB thumb drive where you can record directly from the analog into a digital format, and that's what I've been working on doing.
It's amazing. Yeah, it really is amazing. So thank you to everybody, and well, you know, if I can get out on the road, come and say hello.
Absolutely.
Pretty easy to get on.
I would love to see you stateside, especially. I'm up in upstate New York outside of Buffalo. We're a hard rock heavy metal haven. So.
I would love to be there, and it's only the planning part of it that stops me from getting there immediately.
Completely understood.
You know, as soon as I get this shit together, I'll be there.
All right, man.
You know,
one thing I've learned in life in my 30 years is good things come to those who wait.
Yeah. Okay, I haven't got that long to wait. You know, this is a real color. I didn't paint it that color. It really is that all. But
it's all right. You've earned it. It looks good on you too. But all right, guys, if you like what we're doing, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, and leave a message for Tony. Go out and buy Thorns. I'll leave the link in the description to go check it out. It's a great record. And once again, thank you very much, Tony Martin. It's been an honor, my friend.
Thank you.
All right, guys. Until next time, rock and roll.